Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast here today from MrSoundOff. I'm MrSoundOff, and welcome to a beautiful Tuesday evening out there for you guys. Hopefully, wherever you're listening to this, watching this around the country or the world, it is you're having a nice day out there, and hopefully getting to enjoy some beautiful weather out there, like I know we are here out in California. Anyways, we'll be starting up here shortly. Got some fun stuff to talk about here today. Some of the topics we're going to go over today. Obviously, again, NFL being a big talking point right now with some of these moves that have been happening in NFL free agency, as well as some trades that have been happening out there too. Some of the big things there. The biggest one happened over the weekend. I've been doing normally Tuesdays and Thursdays for these podcasts, but I almost came out and did a special one just for this because the Justin Fields trade that came out over the weekend was pretty special, pretty unique, you know. So we got some talk about some of the NFL movement that's been going on over the weekend here, as well as going over some things in not just for the Steelers or for the Bears, but some other teams out there too. Some other movement that's been happening, and then of course the big thing, especially I don't know if you're an Irishman like myself, but St. Patrick's Day obviously happened over the weekend. Hopefully, everybody had a fun and safe St. Patrick's Day, and hopefully, you guys got to enjoy it as much as I did. I know that I know I got to partake in that a little bit. If you had a favorite moment, a favorite thing that you guys do for St. Patrick's Day, you know, hit me up. Announce it, put it out there in the chat there. Myself, obviously, there's some different drinks that we do. Some friends got me into the the picklebacks as well a few years ago. The Dirty Gators. I don't know if you guys have partaken in those or done any of those, but that's a fun one. And obviously the Irish car bomb that you can do. Different types of Irish whiskey out there. There's a lot of good ones. The Irish creams out there too. A lot of good ones there as well. But also besides having some fun and getting some drinks and things like that there, we like to have a good time. Uh, get into the thing, get into the spirit of the thing with playing some music, eating the foods, watching some movies, those kind of thing there as well. So we're gonna go over that a little bit during the show as well. Obviously, you can see I'm all decked out in the green here, got the shamrock on as well here. So yeah, good. Hopefully everybody had a fantastic St. Patrick's Day and happy and safe St. Patrick's Day and having a good start to the week here. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump into episode 4 here of Mr. Sound Off, the live stream here today. And if you don't catch us during the live stream itself, remember I do try to chop up some of these videos here as well, put them out on some of our different social media platforms as well as YouTube, so that way you guys can still see them if you did happen to miss the live stream itself. Feel free to still leave comments down below as you watch the video, send out any messages, share, like, subscribe, of course, hit the notification bell so that way you get notified as those videos do drop as well there. Okay. So we're going to start off here with this week in the NFL world. The biggest moves, I think, to me, I think around the NFL was the Justin Fields move, and that'd be Justin Fields being traded from the Chicago Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right. Uh, I think a lot of people. I mentioned it about 2 weeks ago. I said, wouldn't it be crazy if the Bears actually signed Russell Wilson, right? And then trade away Justin Fields and trade away the number one pick, just kind of as a pie in the sky kind of like what if scenario out there. And then I also said that the speculation is the rumors are that Russell Wilson's going to end up going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, that happened. right? That ended up happening that following week. I did not see a week after the Pittsburgh Steelers signing Russell Wilson that then they would go and make a trade for Justin Fields to bring him in as well. Now, what did make that possible is that what they gave up for Justin Fields was hardly anything. I mean, a sixth round draft pick, a conditional sixth round draft pick that could become a fourth round draft pick if Justin Fields isn't playing 50% or more of the season. Uh, every speculation out there is that it's Russell Wilson's job to lose. So Russell Wilson's going to come in there starting the season, and if he's playing well enough, well, he's going to keep the job. If he's playing bad enough, how long do the Steelers wait to see that he's playing that bad? Is this something where it's by week 4? And I don't see this happening, but let's say the Steelers are 0-4 and Russell Wilson is off to a horrible start. If they're 0-4 and he's off to that kind of start, then yeah, I could see them making that move. If they're at week 8 and they're 4-4 and Russell Wilson's playing average, a little above average, but not great. I absolutely think the Steelers would say, well, I don't think right now is the time to exactly make a move. Let's see, let's give him a little more time in this offense, right? We're still treading water right now. We can still take off at any time. Plus, all of a sudden, if we put in Justin Fields right now, that 6 becomes a 5th or a 4th round draft pick, right? So, uh, you know, it it's highly likely, unless there's maybe like an injury or something like that happens, or Russell Wilson is playing that poorly, that that's a 6th round draft pick for Justin Fields. And I found that interesting because I said last week in one of my podcasts that I think the biggest losers in the NFL free agency so far was Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. And this is what I was talking about. Uh, the amount of teams out there the available suitors that actually wanted Justin Fields went tremendously down with the different moves that happened in the NFL free agency in that first day. I mean, almost literally within hours of that first day, and then it became official on the Wednesday after that. I think the news started coming out on Monday morning, and then by Wednesday it was the start of the NFL actual official season where these players can start getting signed and things like that. But by Monday, it was like, okay, Kirk Cousins is going over here. Sam Darnold's going over here. Um, and, Baker Mayfield's re-signing down there in Tampa Bay. There was all this movement happening around, and it looked like, well, there were some of the teams that were maybe going to go after this guy, and they're gone. So they could maybe either try to pick him up as a backup, or they're not going to be interested in him at all, right? And now they also got these guys, possibly trading up to the number 1 spot for Caleb Williams went tremendously down. So it lowered the value on a lot of the stuff there, right? And then for Justin Fields, him being from Atlanta, that was the team that he mostly wanted to go back to, was the Atlanta Falcons, and I think he would have been good on the Falcons. I think again, they have enough skill players there, young offensive line there. I think he would have been good there. I'm not like the biggest believer in Justin Fields, seeing a lot of his games over the last few years, but I do think that he would have been maybe better there than he was in Chicago, just because I do believe Chicago has some pretty good skill players, some pretty good players around him on that team, including on the offensive line. I know they used their first round early pick last year on an offensive tackle. They traded for DJ Moore. I thought going into last season that the Chicago Bears actually had the best tight end group in the NFC North. So not necessarily best tight end, one player, but as far as a group of 3 or 4 individuals on there, they had the best group out there. Receiving and blocking, type guys. Got guys with speed, guys with length, all those guys with great hands. Robert Tonyan came over from the Packers to the Chicago Bears. I was disappointed that we lost out on Robert. But then obviously the Packers ended up drafting 2 looks like studs as tight ends. So we kind of made up for that one there. But still, the Bears had some pretty good players to go around them. I don't necessarily think that they maybe had what a top 10 pick receiver, a top 10 pick skill position tight end, the best running back, the number one running back drafted out of last year, and Bijan Robinson. I think what they have four, I believe, offensive linemen now in the last like 6 years, drafted in the first round. So I don't think the Bears necessarily had that going. But I also don't think that the Falcons maybe necessarily had the defense that the Chicago Bears did towards the end of the season last year as well. So kind of a hit or miss there. Still, I think that Justin Fields would have been good going to that Falcons team, but he, obviously lost out on that opportunity. So he lost out on the opportunity to go back home, go onto that team, and for the Bears to get more back in return for that. Right, all of a sudden, if Kirk Cousins re-signs with the Vikings, and some of these other dominoes fall the way they're going, then all of a sudden maybe Justin Fields' value goes from being a six to, oh shoot, you're the Falcons and you've been getting all these players, but you still don't have that great of a draft spot this year in the NFL draft. So are you going to get the fourth or fifth best quarterback in the NFL draft this year, or are you just going to go ahead and plunge in there for Justin Fields? It might not have gone up to a first round draft pick, considering all that the Chicago Bears got with sixth. But if some of those moves weren't made, and all of a sudden the bidding war started going up, could the Bears gotten a second or a third round draft pick for them? That kind of thing there. So, like I said, it happened quickly, but the Bears lost out a ton there. I feel like what they could have gotten had they really been trying to make that deal work more throughout the offseason to trade him away and kind of not wait for this market to play out the way it did, and within hours it played them right out of a higher draft pick. So a big deal for that trade to happen for the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and again for the Pittsburgh Steelers now, really a great move. I mean, again, you hardly had to give up very much for Justin Fields. He's still on that rookie contract. He's still mostly the salary goes to the Chicago Bears, so they have a quarterback room. That's the probably the cheapest in the NFL. I'm guessing it's the cheapest in the NFL as far as two quarterbacks in there. They're saying they're probably bringing in a third as well. I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers maybe even drafting still a quarterback. You go into their sixth is gone, but maybe a fifth round, seventh round quarterback or something like that. They got rid of Pickett as they traded him to the Eagles, so they don't have him anymore, right? But I don't think really the skill set of Pickett. I think they saw him enough. I don't really think the ceiling was very high with him. So now, can you maybe go out there and try to draft this? Everyone's obviously looking for a Tom Brady and Brock Purdy, right? But can you draft a fifth or a seventh round guy or something like that can sit behind both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and sit there like a Jordan Love did, right? Like an Aaron Rodgers did. I mean, the Packers are known for this, but all of a sudden, if you have two guys in front of this guy and he's drafted that far down, very easy to sit him behind those guys and hope that player learns from those guys. And if Russell Wilson doesn't end up staying around after this 1 year deal, or if Justin Fields decides that he's out after his contract is up, right? Then you have somebody waiting in the wings that can maybe take over as well. So I think that's a pretty smart move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and for their defense that they have, and they kept spending money on defense. They got Patrick Queen, who I wanted the Packers to actually draft originally out of college, and then I was hoping that they'd maybe sign him as a free agent. The Pittsburgh Steelers got him, so the Steelers keep spending money on defense. They keep trading away wide receivers. Now if you're the Steelers, I gotta think you dive back into the skill set, position players this year in the NFL draft, and maybe go and get a wide receiver in this draft here. You got Freiermuth with a tight end already, so you got a good tight end. Okay line, I guess. So you can either probably go offensive lineman or wide receivers draft. Do you have the running back that you want? Do you have the running back of the future, that kind of thing? They could maybe go that way, but that's probably not a first round pick, anyways. I can see them going with a running back in the maybe second, but probably like third or fourth round. Anyways, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are set up pretty well to compete here this next year, even though they're possibly in the toughest division in all football. Right, that AFC North is going to be rough. Joe Burrow's going to be back. The Ravens obviously were right there last year. They got even better, it seems like, with picking up Derrick Henry in the offseason, although they did lose out on Patrick Queen, so maybe their defense takes a hit, get a little bit better on offense. Browns got Jerry Judy, so they've been picking up some guys there as well on the offensive side. And so I think the Browns are going to be their backup came in and did a fine job for them too. Anyways, that AFC North is going to be tough, but I think the Steelers are going to be able to compete pretty well in there. They did last year, and they had Kenny Pickett at quarterback, right? So it's gonna be pretty fun to see what exactly happens with both the Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers going forward here as we go along. And then the other part of this thing here with the Chicago Bears is Caleb Williams still their guy? All right. Are they done making moves? Are they going to end up trading away that number one pick still? All right, that's still all on the table if they can. Everyone's saying, and I believe they are going to go with Caleb Williams. But I also do believe that Caleb Williams has been putting out red flags on purpose for the Chicago Bears for not a couple months, but going back a year ago, going back to his Heisman winning sophomore season, right? About possible holdouts and things like that. And I see a lot of people out there questioning why is K Williams not allowing the teams to do a physical, not allowing them to do an interview, those kind of things. Well, I get it on some of those things. He was saying, okay, if you're the team with the 10th pick, the 20th pick, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, let's say, I'm not going to give you guys a physical. You're not going to draft me. You have the last pick in the draft. You have Patrick Mahomes. You're obviously not going to go after me. So why am I going to let you guys interview me or do a physical and see possibly what injuries I have, what you can attack me with, those kind of things there. So there's a bunch of teams you eliminate half or 2/3 of the teams in the NFL from really being legit contenders to actually even draft you, right? But for the Bears, I actually do believe that he's been saying red flags there, signals at least of you guys maybe need to think twice about drafting me, right? And I think every other team, and I also say this that he's been doing this for more than a year because last year the Bears had the number one pick, right? And so him and I think it was his dad actually came out with the comments of how it's too bad the way the NFL draft works that you go to the worst team. The worst team in the NFL has the number one pick, right? And so this was them saying this last year when the Chicago Bears had that number one pick, right? Not that he ever declared himself available for the NFL draft last year. He wasn't even eligible for it. But the point being is they were already basically kind of saying like, hey, it would kind of suck to go to the Chicago Bears or the worst team in the NFL, right? So maybe we're going to go ahead and throw out some smoke out there, so the worst team or the worst few teams even don't pick us up, and we fall in the NFL draft to somebody that's a little bit better, or gives a chance to somebody that is a little bit better, a chance to trade up, maybe lowering what that that trade value is for that number one pick. If everyone knows that the Justin Field or Caleb Williams is not going to go to the Chicago Bears, right, and he's the most coveted player out there, then all of a sudden that value do. You're not going to draft this guy. You're going to draft somebody else, or you're going to draft this guy and he's not even going to sign with you, right? So maybe it gives a chance for that fifth best or fifth worst team, that 10th team in there, right, to go ahead and make that move up because now they have to give up one or two less number one picks, right? So there's been a lot of things out there. There's even been speculation that Caleb Williams can make more money if he returned back to the NCAA and got an NIL deal rather than what he would make in his first year playing for whoever it was going to play for in the NFL, right? Even as the number one pick. Okay. If he ends up falling down, that money starts dropping significantly. What that guaranteed money is as a number one draft pick, round one draft pick. So all of a sudden, if you're fifth or 10th or 15th or something like that, it's millions of dollars less. And then it's like, well, now definitely should have, not played your hand like this and gone in the NFL and make as much money as you can, that kind of thing there. But they're saying possibly that he can make more money even as a number one pick for whatever team would end up picking him number one, right? So there's even kind of this thing there where he's holding a team hostage with that, which is why I actually thought that the NFL was going to really try to make. I do believe they were trying to make the Bears win that game against the Packers at the end of the season, hoping that the Bears would not have as high of draft picks as they did and force this situation because they would look bad for the NFL if Caleb Williams ended up saying, "No, thank you, NFL. I don't want to go to that team. I'll go ahead and stay in college." If, if the number one player, the top draft prospect for, I mean, I'm Trevor Lawrence was pretty big up there, but the top draft prospect possibly in the last 5, 10, 15 years or something like that, besides and the first one since the NIL has come out with their money. If that guy says no, I'll go ahead and stay in college, forget going to the pros. That looks bad for the NFL, right? And the one guy that Caleb Williams has basically been throwing up red flags for is the Chicago Bears for over a year now, right? So again, it doesn't necessarily mean that the Chicago Bears are going with him. What do you guys think out there? Do you think they're going to go ahead and draft Caleb Williams? Do you think they're going to trade that pick away? What do you think they could get if they did trade that pick away? And who would they go for instead if not Caleb Williams? They obviously, I mean, they got rid of Justin Fields, so they're obviously going with a quarterback, right? But can they possibly do they like Drake May or one of these other guys more? And they think that they can fall down a couple spots and go to 3 or 5 or something like that, and actually get the quarterback they wanted and pick up more draft capital by trading away the number one pick. Also knowing maybe that Caleb Williams wasn't ever gonna want to sign with them anyways, right? So I think pretty interesting still to see exactly what happens with that. I do believe that there's still more reactions to come from NFL teams including the Bears, other teams in the AFC North. Now that the Steelers have made some moves in the last week or two here, getting Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Uh, you know, we'll see some more moves for sure. There's still a lot of really good free agents out there to be picked up, and teams try to match each other for sure. You play each other twice a year, and for some of these guys, if they sign long term, if they sign 3, 4 years or something like that, you might see them 6 or 8 times over the next 3 or 4 seasons. So you'll see another team maybe pick up a player that can match up well against that guy. And if that doesn't end up happening, then we get into that NFL draft. That's a pretty fun time as well to see. All right, now where are they going to be able to plug some of these holes with through the draft players, right? Through these guys coming up from the college team. So, anyways, we'll touch more on NFL free agency at the end of our episode here. We'll go back over that, not so much with the Steelers or the Steelers or the Bears or anything like that there, but we got a little bit more free agency and NFL to talk about at the end of the show here today. Next, I want to get into, if you guys are all ready for it, hopefully you are. Today we're going to go ahead and get into today in history, right? And today in history. We're on the eve here. NCAA March Madness is coming up here soon, right? Hopefully, you guys got your brackets filled out. I think on my next podcast, I'll go over what my bracket is going to look like. I might have to do another episode just to kind of maybe go over the bracket itself, or just put out a video on the bracket itself there. But because the March Madness is starting up here, I thought this was interesting. Today in history, Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell from the Boston Celtics, wins the 17th NCAA tournament, right? And this was back in 1955 for University of San Francisco over LaSalle. And Bill Russell was also named the most outstanding player in that 55 tournament. Right, so pretty cool. I mean, this guy. A lot of people talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as well, probably having the most successful basketball career ever. Right? What is it? I believe it's 3 college NCAA tournament championships, and how many championships as well in the NBA out there too. But Bill Russell, by the way, the next season in '56 he also still was there at University of San Francisco and helped the Dons win the NCAA title that next year as well. Right. So, and Bill Russell, won 10 different NBA titles. So I know some people maybe call that, like, before the merger, or, you know, kind of old school basketball, and all of a sudden then you get into, kind of 70s, 80s and stuff like that. A lot of people kind of separate those two times as far as, 50s, early 60s kind of basketball, and also the 70s, 80s, and everything from that Cream time, and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson time, kind of the same as now. But Bill Russell, I mean, had a phenomenal career in both the pros and college basketball. So that happened in 1955 that he won that. And then also today, I thought this was interesting as being a Sacramento Kings fan myself, being from up here in the north. In 1991, the Sacramento Kings were not lighting the beam. That's for sure. We're not we're not lighting no beam. Back in 1991, in 91, they set the record for 29 consecutive road losses in that season. Now, obviously they're at home when they light the beam. That kind of is just a joke there, but 29 consecutive road losses for the Sacramento Kings, which I saw that and got me thinking. When it was when I started going to Kings games myself, and and just kind of some of those early Kings years. And I mean, I remember the Kings not being the greatest team back then, and Mitch Richmond was on the team. I think ever since I've really known the Kings or can remember back, Mitch Richmond was on the Kings, and being a fan of them, but also being a fan of the other teams that they were playing against, because Mitch was basically keeping them afloat. And by the way, then I went and looked it up just to kind of see about that a little bit more. And Mitch Richmond, his first year on the Sacramento Kings was 91. So 1991, Sacramento Kings set the record for 29 consecutive road losses. It took them a couple of years before they got a little better with Mitch, but never quite matched what they were like in the late '90s, early 2000s time. And thankfully, what they're back to being now is a really good, solid, competitive team, a fun team to watch. Like the Beam has been a thing that's caught on around here as well, in NorCal and in Sacramento area at least. Darren Fox is a special player. Bonus, Malik Monk. They got a good team, and some good veterans, along with some young talent out there as well too. So shout out to the new Sacramento Kings. Keep it up, keep lighting the beam. And I thought that was interesting that the Sacramento Kings kind of hold that distinction from 1991. All right, so that today, guys, was for you today in history for everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed those couple of things. There, a couple of basketball standouts here for you. And without further ado, we go into the song of the day. All right. And for the song of the day, again, hopefully you guys are following us on Instagram. I know at least on Instagram. I'm not sure if on no, it doesn't do it on Twitter. Maybe not on Facebook either. But if you guys are following us on Instagram, most time you get kind of a little sneak peek at what the song is going to be. You might already know what the song is, but generally I'm able to give you a little sneak peek of what the song of the day is going to be. Like I said, it was St. Patty's Day a couple days ago, so it's time to kind of celebrate this. And so I went ahead and chose um, from from Foggy Molly, Black Friday Rule from the album Swagger. And if you guys have not checked out Flogging Molly or don't know of this song, Black Friday Rule, definitely go give it a listen, give it a spin. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the song of the day. Great album as well, the Swagger album. Uh, they've had a number of really good albums, but those first two or three, and then they've had a couple mixed in as well. I mean, every band has their hits and misses and that kind of thing, and I don't think they've ever missed with any of theirs. But their first couple and some of their newer ones as well have just been awesome albums, right? and you can basically put on most of those albums and have a decent party night with just the whole album going. I know I like to kind of mix it up, and I'll go with some Foggy Molly, and I'll throw in some Dropkick in there. I'll even throw in like some Green Day, the Young Dubliners, um, which awesome bands to also see live. All those bands. One, one of my favorite memories was actually down in Santa Cruz seeing the Young Dubliners get billed to play. They played the same night as Anti-Mask, the basically the side project from the guys from Mars Volta, and they played the same night, and they had two different venues inside the Catalyst in downtown Santa Cruz. And so me and my buddy go down there, and he was super into Mars Volta and everything like that, Anti-Mask. And if I remember right, I believe, what was it, the bass player, I think, from Anti-Mask was like from his mom's hometown. So he super wanted to see them, and I was like, I can't believe this, man. They have one of my other favorite bands playing here at the same time. So I basically tried to bounce back and forth all night. I had bought the tickets for the Young Dubliners, I think months before the Anti-Mask show was ever announced, and so they're both playing there, and I'm just going back and forth. And every time I'm going to see Young Dubliners, I'm pretty much getting uh, you know some more Jameson every time I'm over there to celebrate watching them, and coming back and forth. And that was a fun night, getting to watch two of your favorite bands play at the same time. I mean, I think Anti-Mask came on about a half an hour, 45 minutes after Young Dubliners. So that was the other things I got to see just one for quite a while before bouncing back and forth. But that was pretty special. I know maybe you might get that in like a festival like setting, but not not too often. Most places don't even have two venues, right? That you can go, you know, two theaters, two stages, where a band can play at the same venue itself. But that was a fun time, a fun memory to have. So if you guys have not checked out Black Friday Rule from Flogging Molly, all right, or Flogging Molly themselves, go check it out. Great song. Uh, a little bit longer of a song there, especially from one of these Irish bands here with a lot going on, a fun one. It's got everything in it, right? And definitely a band you guys should check out, and that whole album of Swagger from Flogging Molly, right? So that, guys, is our song of the day. I also want to kind of throw out there another little thing as well here. Again, St. Patty's Day, maybe in Irish and stuff like that. I get into a little bit. If you guys want to throw out a movie suggestion for you, most time I talk sports and music, obviously, on this music and sports. We go back and forth. But every once in a while, I said I'll throw out there some entertainment news, maybe some information or something like that, recommendation on a movie or a show. And this week seems right to throw those out there as far as Boondock Saints being a movie. If you have not seen it yet, all right, you're close enough to St. Patty's Day. Go and watch it tonight. If you know haven't seen it yet, you can also wait and watch it next year on St. Patrick's Day. Start making it a thing. I kind of bounce back and forth maybe on what the night has planned on either if I'm watching Boondock Saints or Boondock Saints 2, or if I'm watching both of them, or if I'm watching The Departed. Uh, there's some different stuff out there. Um, Heck, I'll watch some Braveheart just to see the scene where the Irish come over and betray the British and everything like that in that movie as well. So uh, definitely a fantastic movie. If you guys have not checked it out, both of Boondock Saints and Boondock Saints 2. And Troy Duffy, hopefully you do get this third one made. I can't wait to see, if this ends up, coming out, if it ends up working for you, to get a third one made. I know you've been working on this for a long time. It's been 19 years now. I think it's been, let's see, no, I think it's been longer than that now since the first one uh, came out. Thank you, Jennifer. And but even longer since the first one came out. It took quite a while for the second one to come out. I got fly on me down here. Get out of here, fly. Get out, be fly. It took quite a while for the second one to come out, and then it's doing the same thing for the third one. But basically, it's been Troy Duffy that has been writing and directing, doing basically everything for these movies. He kept taking money out of his own pocket to actually get the first ones done. When the studios were essentially going to bail out, he threw out his own money, took less money from the project to make it happen, and thankfully he did because they're fantastic movies. And he's back. He's still working on the third one here. He's writing that one. He's supposed to direct it again. And they got both Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery are also both saying they're coming back. So essentially, the gang is back. They're all in on this. They love this story. They love these characters, and hopefully they can make this happen. Hopefully it doesn't take another 20 years for that third one to happen. But I can't wait for it to happen if it does. Also kind of looking into this area, I do every once in a while. There's been talk of this Boondock Saints Origins show, which I don't believe actually does. I think maybe Troy Duffy might be like an executive producer on it, basically kind of a thing of like, we'll pay some money so we can use your story, use your characters, but we'll do everything, we'll write it up. I don't know if it's really supposed to be kind of like almost like a reboot of the series, but essentially it's supposed to be like a TV show series for Boondock Saints, and we'll see how that would go. I mean, it's either I would gotta think it's going to be new cast, new people in there. Yeah, William Defoe. Thank you, Jennifer. William Defoe has been also amazing in these movies. Um, you can tell. I mean, the performances of William Defoe really does have a performance, of a lifetime, pretty much in that first one, and he's been great in a lot of things. But he's fantastic in these movies as well. I don't really want to give away too much or anything like that, but hopefully they can bring him back as well. Heck, I know Rocco's been back. I know they all love the story and these characters, so hopefully they can bring them back there too. But anyways, take a look for that there and see if you get any updates on that. Let me know if you guys have any insight on that, either Boondock Saints 3 or Boondock Saints Origins. And thank you, Jennifer, for commenting in there too. If you guys like this movie, give it a thumbs up, and go and watch the movie. If not now, then tomorrow, or at least next St. Patrick's Day. All right, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the song of the day, and in this case, the movie of the week, I guess. Yeah, movie of the week. Maybe I'll start making that a thing there as well. All right. So thank you everybody for listening to that. And without further ado, I'll get into my final topic here for the day. And we're going to go back onto the NFL free agency side of things here, and that now I'm going to go ahead and kind of jump to a different team, and mostly here talk about the NFL football Jets, those New York Jets. All right, really making some moves here in this last week as well with free agency, and really improving their team. All right, so I thought last year going into that season, a lot of people there was a lot of hype around Aaron Rodgers going to that Jets team. You know, their defense obviously being great, but they really just kind of thought, okay, what I think the Jets won 6 games the year before that. Aaron Rodgers automatically going to take him to whatever 11, 12, 13, 14 wins or something like that, and take them deep into the playoffs, maybe win a championship, everything with that team. And I thought it was a little unrealistic. I thought I definitely did think that Aaron Rodgers could take that team and win 10 to 12 games and maybe win a playoff game or something like that. But unfortunately for Aaron Rodgers' career, he's very rarely been on the best team out there, and been on good teams, and had some special talent around him for sure. But heck, I think the Bills were a better team than the Jets last year in his own division, right? I think the Dolphins as a whole team were probably a better team as than the Jets were in his own division. Patriots, sure, the Jets were going to be better than that there, but that's just his own division. I mean, and then of course you had the Chiefs, and Joe Burrow got hurt and things like that. But if, the Bengals have been really good. The Ravens have been really good. The Browns were like they went and improved their team a whole bunch going into last season. I thought they were going to be a really good team. If I remember right, I think I picked the Browns to win that AFC North last year. Um, you know the Chargers kind of fell off a little bit, but anyways, there was possibly like 6 to 8 teams as a full squad that were better, I think, going into last year than the New York Jets. And it would have taken, like it did a lot of times in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers to have that phenomenal season or that phenomenal game or phenomenal stretch of the season or that throw or something like that that nobody else could do to elevate that team into you know getting into the playoffs and winning multiple games or getting into the Super Bowl for that team, right? And anything other than extraordinary stretches from Aaron Rodgers, those extraordinary throws that nobody else can do, him just being a very good quarterback at like the age of 40 years old, him being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, like all of a sudden that team wins like 10 or 11 games, him being like a top 5 quarterback, all of a sudden now you're talking about that team winning like 11, 12 games, and him being in the MVP race, him being a top 3, that's all of a sudden would have taken that team to like the 13, 14 kind of win thing and really being like, okay, now they're a serious championship contender. But without that kind of play out of Aaron Rodgers, uh, I thought that team had a lot of holes. Basically, the offensive line was shaky. They had one really good wide receiver, Alan Lazard. I'm a fan of him, but he's this fly coming back here around again. um, but he's not nearly as good of a Debo Samuel. I mean, he's not as fast. Maybe has the same hands, as Debo, but not as fast, not as quick. Can block great like Debo Samuel can, and can't run over people like Debo can, right? But basically, he's a great blocking possession receiver and should be your third or fourth receiver on your team. And people don't realize that last year in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, when they traded away Devontae, Alan Lazard was their number one, right? And Alan Lazard should have never been the number one. Alan Lazard should not have even been a number two. Alan Lazard is really again a 3 or a 4 wide receiver and could do a lot of other things for you on the team and can get open for you when you need him on that one throw or something like that every once in a while in the game, and especially if your actual 1 or 2 receiver is getting double teamed, right? Because Alan Lazard beating a double team, or even three defenders or something like that Devontae was dealing with, isn't happening, right? So the Jets now have made some moves, right? Where now all of a sudden today they picked up Mike Williams. So I mentioned on our last broadcast, Mike Williams being let go by the LA Chargers, and and all of a sudden now and Mike Williams is getting picked up, 1 year contract, kind of a prove it deal for Mike Williams, also coming off injury. So one, it's like, can you be this productive, at this age, off this injury, with a new quarterback, um, with a different scheme, all those kind of things out there, right? But Mike Williams has been a very productive wide receiver for a while now, and is not as old as some of the other wide receivers out there that are supposed to be and are and will be number one receivers on their teams throughout this year. So they pick him up, and he'll slot right into being a perfect number 2 behind Garrett Wilson, right? They still have a great running back that misses is basically most of his first year, was back last year and healthy, had a really good season, except for their offense basically had nowhere to go in Brees Hall, so they got that there. And then on top of picking up Mike Williams the other day, the Jets also picked up Tyrone Smith. So they picked up the huge great tackle from the Dallas Cowboys. That was essentially the number one uh, tackle, number one like offensive lineman on the board. Some people at the whole start of the free agency, definitely by the time that he was picked up, he was number one guy out there. And they also signed him for a 1 year deal as well. Now you got to wonder if some of these guys only signing 1 year deals too, because it's not so much prove year for deals, but it's prove year for the Jets and for Aaron Rodgers. Can you stay healthy? Can you be competitive? Can your franchise be run correctly? Those kind of things. maybe they didn't want to fully dive into the Jets as well and sign again a 3 to 5 year deal or something like that. And they're like, well, we'll try it out for a year and see how this goes. But regardless of that, the Jets just got the best offensive lineman out there to a squad that had a below average, very poor offensive line last season, as evident by what was it, the third play of Aaron Rodgers' career in the on the Jets, getting hurt by someone getting past his left tackle. So all of a sudden you shirt up that, and now you go into this NFL draft thinking, okay, well, everyone, including myself, had it projected that the Jets would go after a tackle with that number one pick, pick number 10. Now, I did also say that all this offseason, I believe that it was possible that David Bakhtiari could get traded from the Packers to the Jets. I still wish the Packers would have done that, so we would have gotten something back and not just had this dead cap hit and not get anything in return for it. But the Packers did release David Bakhtiari, right? And so there is a dead cap hit on the Packers. So kind of similar to the whole Russell Wilson, Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers thing. David Bakhtiari could be on the cheap for a team to sign, right? Now imagine if the Jets sign David Bakhtiari and have Smith here, and just all of a sudden went from being a again, like I said, below average uh, offensive line, poor offensive line, to getting possibly two, all pro slash Hall of Fame tackles in the same offseason. And neither one of them are are that old. I mean, each one of these guys, if they're healthy, and I know Tyron Smith has had some injury concerns as well, a little bit over the last couple of years. David Bakhtiari obviously was the last 3 years has had injury concerns. He basically played week one of last season against the Chicago Bears, and then went out for the whole rest of the year, had a multitude of surgeries. Hopefully for his sake, he's finally gotten it figured out. He's got those surgeries done that he needed to get done, and he can come back 100% healthy. But imagine, I mean, if you get both those guys playing at 100% for the season, you all of a sudden have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, right? And now you can, if you do get that, get Bakhtiari as well in there, you can move in your tackles possibly into guards, or you have the depth in case you need to bring those guys in at any point during the season. Maybe give those two guys some rest or something like that. Or if they do get dinged up throughout the season, you have those other tackles that you could still bring in. So that means you could go with like the best, you could still go with the best tackle or best guard in the draft. If you know, hey, we got the best tackle, the best guard is going to be the 20th to 30th pick, and you're sitting there at 10, do you then trade down and you get down to, you know, 16 to 18 or something like that, and it gets some more picks back, and all of a sudden you pick up the best guard there. So there's some playroom there. Or do they say, all right, we got our offensive line figured out enough here. We can maybe bring in those tackles, put them at guard positions. Our inside work is good enough, or we'll go ahead and address the guard center positions, in some of the other rounds, second, third round, those kind of things there. Now all of a sudden you pick up at the number 10 spot. Are you picking up what the third or fourth best receiver in the NFL draft? Do you pick up Bowers? Do you pick up best tight end? That some people have, some people have on their boards as high as in the top 5 or 7, and some people, just based on team needs and stuff like that, you know, top like 15 or so. I think nobody really has him going below the 20th pick. But do you pick up the best tight end in the draft? The Jets do have Conklin right now, solid tight end, I don't think he's going to give you nearly, even as a rookie, what Bauer really kind of opens up that team for what they can do and really be such a deeper team. They were low. They were not very deep on receivers, and they were not very good or very deep on offensive line. And they just got two of the best out there in free agency within a few days of each other. So huge move for the NFL, for the New York Jets there. Hopefully, they can put some good stuff together. It'll be interesting to see what other moves again they have. Like, are they going to pick up a David Bakhtiari? Are they going to pick up another wide receiver here out of free agency, or are they going to go? Where are they going to go in that NFL draft? Are they going to go receiver? Are they going to go offensive line? There might be some holes or something like that on the defensive side that they could go with, but I feel like their defense is sharp enough, and really you can go pretty heavily on the offense here, and really have a pretty deep team going into this next NFL season if you're the NFL football Jets there. So great job for them. Some great movement for them going forward here in this free agency, and that guys is going to be the conclusion of the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode here for episode 4 out of Mr. Soundoff. I am Mr. Soundoff. Thank you guys for enjoying the channel. If you guys have not already, please like and subscribe to the videos. Hit the notification bell as well to get notified for our future content that we are putting out. I'll start putting out some other little videos that aren't just live streams as well. And if you guys have not already, again, like us, find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook out there too. Like us, subscribe, follow, share, get out the word. And hopefully, you guys are enjoying the comment. If you do have any other comments, please leave comments for the videos or send me a private message. And hopefully, we can shout you guys out and keep chatting it up on our next episode. Until then, I'll see you guys on Thursday here. We put out another video, if not before then, for March Madness. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you, everyone.